for the Susan Taylor Podcast, where we discuss the yoga of mind, medicine, and healing. Author of Feeling Good Matters, Sexual Radiance, and the Vital Energy Program, Dr. Taylor imparts authentic knowledge and practical tools that inspire, educate, and empower us to be a healing force for positive change. So join us and take your life and our planet to the next level.
Hello and welcome to episode 19. Is fasting a healthy practice? Fasting is an ancient practice used for religious events as well as during a time of health and disease. It's the body's natural way to let go and detox. It's different from starvation because of intention, meaning that when we fast, we have the intention to best serve our living organism, to let go, detox, and ultimately create space. Fasting can be done with food, talk, or anything that we seem to need to rest from doing. In today's podcast, I'd like to focus on a technique that I have used for decades with clients to help them revitalize their metabolism and renew their vitality. And that technique is fasting. A lot has been written about fasting, and a lot of it is as good for you as junk food. But the overall principle is the same in all of them. The body needs time to rest from the daily activity of digestion. Fasting has been the subject of much of my research for more than 10 years. I know about the physiology of fasting and about the psychological effects. In fact, I've fasted myself numerous times, always keeping journals of my experience. And what I found is when we stop eating, our body goes into autolysis, or what's called self-digestion, after the first 3 days. It begins to break down much of its own worn-out aged tissue, and it eliminates toxins through the bowels and skin. Drinking plenty of water is vital during a fast, and I also found that fresh diluted fruit juices and vegetable juices will help with the cleansing and nourishment of what's needed in the human organism, and that kept me feeling vital. You see, many people are fasting, but they'll say, I'm fasting, but they're eating. The whole idea of physical fasting for the body is to give the digestive system a rest. That doesn't mean to torture it and starve it. There's a big difference, and it's the psychological intention that determines that difference, as well as what are you doing? What is the systematic protocol that you're using for a fast? Most people fast for the wrong reasons, though they don't recognize the side effects. For example, lengthy fasts, fast for over more than 3 days, is not the ideal way to cleanse the body nor lose weight, though you will lose weight. And sudden fasts, well, you'll gain that weight right back. You can gain up to 3 pounds in a week. You're better off not eating anything for 3 days so that you can lose the weight. That's what you say to yourself. Better I don't eat anything for 3 days and I'll lose the weight. And then what that does is it sends the body into a shock, like showering in ice water after heavy exercise. My point here is sudden fasts are not good. If you're going to do fasting, fasting needs its protocol from the beginning, and then it's also how to come out of the fast. Again, I've spent decades, I say 1 decade in pure research on it, but I've spent decades in research, in general research. The worst results do come after the fast ends. The faster is usually proud of themselves because you've conquered the eating ritual and you feel proud about this. Indeed, you've lost a pound or 2. But what happens is you begin to binge on very foods that caused your panic earlier in the week. And this happens a lot with the binge eating cycle with a lot of women. And I remember in the 80s and 90s, and it still might be very popular with eating disorders where people will binge and fast, binge and fast. I can eat again, we tell ourselves, and if we gain too much weight, well, we'll always go on another fast. I remember in the college days, that's the way we always kept our weight down, and we got into this distortion of what food is really about. So we must remember that fasting is not a technique to be used to negate bad eating habits. The fast-famine spiral puts a strain on our entire system, causing irregular moods and emotions due to the stress of not being in balance. The practice of eating and fasting will send the body into a metabolic imbalance. In effect, our liver tries to accommodate the nutrient fluctuations, but does not know what was happening to it. The body works optimally when it's on a regular schedule with a few, if any, surprises. So regularity is the best way to cultivate a stable mind and a healthy body, since the brain is the organ to send the signals to the entire body when the blood sugar levels are off or when they're stable. I have modified a fast over the last 3 decades. People have used it in their protocols where you would fast for 7 nights per week. That means every night. And I call it the overnight fast. I mention it in all my books, from Sexual Radiance to the Vital Energy Program to Feeling Good Matters, and the new course that I'm putting together for everyone to take. The overnight fast is crucial, and I find it very, very beneficial to any kind of health issues. It lasts from 6 p.m. to breakfast the next morning. That's with a healthy person. I'm not talking about people that need medications or on insulin. I'm talking about a healthy population. You know, when I say eat breakfast in the morning, keep this in mind. That's not eating directly upon arising. It gives the body time to cleanse itself without shock treatment. People eat at night. We are in a nation of grazers, I call it. We eat from the morning till the night. People think that having snacks is really good for you, when in fact it weakens the mind as well as disturbs the body's digestion. Again, we're talking healthy people here, not people that are in any kind of treatment. People like to fast. It makes them feel renewed. But if they do it for long periods, they do tend to overeat when they stop. With the overnight fast, there's no such tendency, and the therapeutic value is great. The overnight fast leads to a gradual decrease in appetite rather than creating food cravings one feels after an extended fast. And it provides enough time and energy for the digestive system to rest and reset for the morning's rejuvenation. Researchers have found, and they feel, that the overnight fast, as described here, may contribute to cell renewal to counter oxidative DNA damage caused by free radicals. You'll be rejuvenating your metabolic process, and as a byproduct, you'll be training your mind. For if you allow yourself to eat every time your mind tells you to take that bite, I just mentioned it, you go good just about now. You're never going to really I feel good, I want to feel good, I need to have this snack now. You really never train your mind to be still and rest. You're always being dragged around by your taste buds and your emotions and your feelings and your sense organs. With the meditation training that we do, I'm really working with training the mind. So diet comes in as a nice practice in and of itself. We could call it food sadhana. It's the practice of really learning how to use food to train and still the mind. When you wake up, your digestion has been self-cleaning for some 12 hours when you practice this overnight fast. So if you do the math, in the course of 21 days, you will have fasted nearly 11 of them. Break the fast with fresh juice, and you'll feel you need more of a cleansing because you didn't eat late at night. What I'm really saying here is the fresh fruit, upon awakening, will help to alkalize the system, and you'll even get more of a cleansing. So you're not only doing the fast, you're also getting more of a cleansing from the night before. And you can use more nourishing vegetable juice. Vegetable juice is nourishing. Fruit juice is more cleansing. Keep that in mind. It's Nutrition 101. Some guidelines that I use with the clients are: don't create metabolic disturbance by overdoing it. What do I mean by overdoing it? When people attempt to detox blindly, not considering what the body needs during a detox. Therefore, my number one suggestion for fasting is to practice what I term, again, the overnight fast. This is for a healthy person, meaning that they're not in rehabilitation from sickness or disease. And if you are, you should eat very light in the evening, if you need to eat during the evening at all. This requires a few guidelines for success. And those guidelines, I'll just briefly go over them here, and I'm going to elaborate on this in the future. Assess your situation. Do you eat close to bedtime? Do you wake up fatigued? Do you carry excess weight? Remember, I always say remain calm, consciously aware, living in the moment. Remove what's causing the fatigue. Remove what's causing the lack of energy that you have. That was in last week's podcast. Do you have trouble sleeping? In order to avoid nighttime eating, you must be able to have a very good meal. So that would be step 2. Have 2 freshly prepared meals per day. Have a complete lunch. The body needs nutrients to cleanse and detox. You cannot practice overnight fasting if you just ate a salad for lunch. You won't have enough nutrients to sustain you. Include freshly made teas with pure water throughout the day. This helps flush out any toxins that may have accumulated throughout the day. We're constantly being bombarded with toxins. And I don't encourage snacking throughout the day, so minimize that. I teach people to utilize supplements skillfully based on your needs. It's not healthy to take supplements all the time, the same ones. You must assess the situation and learn to meditate. You fill your eating time with relaxation and meditation, and your liver will love it. Over the course, there's always going to be times when you're unable to resist those urges. Just remain calm no matter what. Don't beat yourself up. Drink warm ginger, fennel tea, drink peppermint tea. Do whatever you need to do. Restore your balance. You want to restore your taste buds. And take a walk in nature if you feel the urge to have to overeat. Fasting on a daily basis between meals and in the evening is a sure way to stay healthy and alert. I promise you, by practicing the overnight fast and fasting between meals, your body will love you. It'll allow it to do the house cleaning, and it'll also allow your mind to rest. Practice it for 1 month, and you'll have fasted a total of 11 days. That's quite an accomplishment, while at the same time not disturbing your metabolism at all. That brings us to the end of this episode. If you'd like to be notified weekly for new podcasts, please subscribe. The Susan Taylor Podcast is available on all your iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and TuneIn, but also on susantaylor.org, where you can click on the podcast to subscribe. Contact susantaylor.org if you have any questions, comments, or feedback. Your feedback is very, very important to us. And I'd like to say again, thank you for listening. Our podcast comes out every week. And again, until next time, remain calm.